Hey guys, Nick Whittier here. It's Christmas Day. Hope you guys are all having a good holiday season. Hanging out with family, friends, whoever. Getting some time off work, relaxing, drinking some nog, whatever you guys do. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about something similar to what I talked about the other day, and that was filtering information. Today, a little bit less melee focused. I'm going to talk about movies a little bit. Okay, so anyway, I watched one of my favorite movies the other day, X-Men First Class. Really like this movie. I think it's a great X-Men movie. It feels very X-Men-y. Michael Fassbender was super cool. James McAvoy, pretty good too, and so on and so on. It's just a good movie overall. I love Kevin Bacon, really, really silly, over-the-top villain. I like it a lot. So, there's a line in this movie that's really bad, just like a really dumb line. And I was reminded of the first time I saw this movie in theaters, and I think it was 2011. I was in college. I had a group of friends that I watched X-Men stuff with quite a lot. So we went to see it the opening night in theaters, and the theater was packed. It was full. It was a big theater, like a couple hundred people there or whatever. And I had one friend who was with some girl, and they didn't really get there till after the movie started, so they kind of had to sit in the front, and the rest of us were sitting in the back. So there's like a training montage, and in this training montage, the character Banshee gets this piece of technology, like a suit that's supposed to allow him to fly. Banshee screams, and then if he supposedly if he screams right while he's wearing the suit that Beast gave him, he can fly. And then Hank McCoy or Beast says to him okay, the sound waves have to be supersonic. And then I start laughing, and I can hear my friend at the front of the theater start laughing, and the rest of the theater is silent, right? No one fucking goes over everyone's head. And then I say to my friend next to me, dude, that was so fucking dumb. He's like, huh, what? But I'm kind of a little triggered or mad because, I'm in college. My friends were actually very smart in college. I wasn't, smarter than they were per se. My friends were just, really really competent humans overall. They just had really, thought out most things in life and knew a lot about science and shit. So I was kind of mad at my friend who didn't realize that the line, the sound waves need to be supersonic, is fucking retarded. It makes no sense. Sound waves, if you don't know, supersonic means travels faster than the speed of sound. Sound waves are not supersonic. They literally travel at their own speed. That's what the fucking word means, to go faster than that. So, it's not a big deal, right? This didn't ruin the movie. I just laughed and wow, that was so fucking dumb. And this really bothered me that this went over everyone's heads, because I'm just personally, I don't know. I don't think that was a very complicated sentence or notion. It's actually very, very plain what that means. I don't know. I remember when I found out what a supersonic meant, because I was learning about airplanes or some shit in middle school, and then I also thought it was cool because I knew what Giles' move sonic boom meant, which is the sound that something makes when it goes supersonic. So yeah, I didn't think that was too much to ask humanity to realize that this was just a stupid line, and that it was kind of funny. Anyway, so getting back to the point of, I think, what I was talking about the other day. So, a lot of times if something just, sounds plausible or, it might make sense, people give it credit and don't have, the same level of skepticism as if something just sounds wrong. And it really bothers me that somebody's, perception of a statement or of anything is based more on their initial reaction, which is not critical, but just a knee-jerk reaction, a visceral feeling, rather than the subsequent critical thinking or, the introspection that you do when you actually, get into your own head and think about what something means or the consequences of it or whatever. So yeah. I really hate when something just sounds plausible or right and it's not, and then people don't shut that shit down or whatever. Or the opposite, right, where something sounds wrong and then people do shut it down even though it's actually correct. With Reddit, this can happen all the time because of upvote downvote system. And here I'll before, I don't really want to talk about Reddit. Let me talk about another example of something in a movie that bothered me more. So in The Dark Knight, Harvey Dent goes on this downward spiral, right? That's a main plot arc in the movie, and Harvey Dent has the chance to kill the Joker, who conspired to set up this whole course of events that would fuck him over, and Then Harvey Dent somehow arrives at the conclusion that he shouldn't kill the Joker and that it should be left up to random chance because random chance is the only fair thing or some fucking nonsense like that. Whatever the fuck Harvey Dent is, right? But anyway, so Harvey Dent's supposed to be a pretty smart guy. It should actually be pretty like obvious to him that the Joker set up Rachel to die to get him all fucking mad, and that random chance never had anything to do with anything in the movie. So this is one of those times where like I'm just kind of trying to wait patiently as a viewer for this to be reconciled, right? Something's going on that makes no fucking sense. I'm just waiting for it to get explained or for like for something to fucking happen that like gets me back in suspense of disbelief, because it just kind of breaks my suspense of disbelief, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Come on. So the X-Men one is like a harmless example, right? It's just one stupid line that some stupid people wrote for an action movie. Whatever. It was dumb. It didn't bother me. But this other one is like a pretty main plot element, and I don't know how this could just like not strike the same chord with other people that what's going on made no fucking sense. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about it. I'll give you a few examples also of things that just kind of like sound right or sound wrong, and it's actually the opposite. So tier lists. Tier lists are often discussed, and people talk about how results are, tier lists should factor in results because results are like the only real evidence we have one way or the other. But, based on this, we could also be saying that Peach and Puff are the two best characters because they win the most tournaments and like they win the most consistently and so on and so on. That doesn't actually really make sense, right? It's just that the two best players play those characters. It really, if you take away those two characters, they aren't good. Puff especially has almost no representation, and Peach has like quite a lot of players, right? There's like Laud and Bladewise who are like somewhere between 20 and 40 probably, and then it's still got a bunch of other players like Azusa, Kalamazoo, Mafia. All these like pretty solid players with good safe fundamental play, good punishes, and so on and so on. But like they're not able to get carried by their characters. So I really don't think that results are a good thing to talk about when talking about tier lists, even though they make sense. And that's one of the reasons why this whole 60-40 meme is also kind of annoying, because like people talk about how the results show that blah blah blah. But again, the results can be because of all kinds of other lurking variables. Okay, so another example would be people talking about Mewtwo King being the best doubles player because he won like the most tournaments, and he also won with a lot of different partners. Well, that's all fine and dandy there, but actually, if you look at the reality of it, it's that Mewtwo King usually teamed with like the other best singles player, and not only does that give them an advantage in terms of like the aggregate skill of their team, it also takes away from the competition, because then like one of them, people who actually has a chance of beating them isn't going to be there. And nowadays there's good teams, right? There's PewFat, there's teams that Michigan can't just like poach the best player from it. Back in the day, like there really weren't very many threats because it was just the best singles players would team and they would be the best teams. That was just kind of the way it was. Michigan himself kind of fostered in that culture. So like I really don't think it's fair to say that Mewtwo King does the best when he teams with a lot of different people. Like I think all the people he's done well with are all just like really top players, and he doesn't even really do very well when he teams with Hungrybox, who did great with Plup and has done pretty decent with some other people too. He even does not bad with Crunch, who definitely can't put in the same level of work as a lot of other people. But so like Mewtwo King, who does nothing most of the time and camps at the edge, should be pretty good with Hungrybox, who likes to not do that much teamwork on the stage and kind of like do lots of things himself and carry his teammate, because Hungrybox can't get Ledgeguard, doesn't need to be saved by Mewtwo King, and they don't really need to help each other that much. So that sounds like that should be okay, but it doesn't really work out. And then if you look like down the list, Mewtwo King didn't do that well when he teamed with Prince of Boo. Didn't do that well when he teamed with Prof. They lost to SFAT in the Moon. People say he did really well when he teamed with like Ice and Plup, but I think those are really top players. Plup, I think, is super good at doubles, and Ice, I think, is very good too, even though some of his Leffen would complain about him. Like Dewan was telling me that Mewtwo King and Armada were getting pretty salty, that Dewan and Ice were giving them some serious trouble at Summit once, when they're trying to warm up for doubles. And then if you get further down the list, I can't really remember all the examples, but there's definitely like 2 or 3 times when Music King actually just teamed with people who aren't very good, who aren't even like close to that top level. Like he teamed with Reno at an SSS a couple years back, and they lost a tournament to Stab and MacD. And I always say MacD is a good doubles player and whatnot, but like, come on, Reno is a really good doubles player too, guys. Like, when SFAT teamed with me, when he teamed with Diz, when he teamed with Reno, SFAT did really well at all those tournaments. When Music King teams with these people, it just doesn't seem like he can do shit with them, right? He just like wants to team with somebody really good and then like kind of can't while they put in a lot of work. So again, it makes kind of sense to say that Music King has done well with lots of different teammates, and he's won the most tournaments, so he's the best doubles player. But when you actually like put that under a microscope, I don't really think it makes sense. So, okay. Now, you guys have probably heard me talk about these things before. They come out in passing for me pretty often. But like, I think I talked about power shields in that other video. Power shields, a lot of people think they have less shield stun. That would kind of make sense, but that's not the case. Still, a lot of people just kind of like talk as if this is the case, and they don't get like, shut down the way they should. I wrote that blog article once about how lasers don't really get countered by power shields, and a lot of times if you like complain about Falco or lasers, some people are like, "Lol, just learn to power shield, then he can't fucking laser you or whatever, then he won't be able to laser." That's actually not really true at all. Again, it's just kind of the article is called Counterintuitive Things in Melee. So like, the laser still controls like where he shoots the laser, what height, what distance. Maybe he can even do the fake laser, then just grab you, like all kinds of things. He can definitely still. They can expect you to power shield and then even use that against you. Like it doesn't counter at all. So anyway, point is, guys, please use a little bit of like additional, healthy skeptical criticism or whatever when you listen to things. Don't just let your visceral reaction dictate like how your ultimate decision or how you ultimately feel about something. Especially at the holidays, if you're around your family a lot, you probably have some frustrating or annoying discussions about Trump or the markets or whatever the hell your family talks about, right? Like a lot, I think especially in like economics and politics, things that sound right just end up being wrong a lot. Like economics, a great field where a lot of the simple shit that they teach you in school just ends up not really being true. So definitely try not to just have your knee-jerk reaction. Try to actually like think things through before you make up your mind. Try to give people a little bit of extra patience. Try to give your critical thinking skills a little bit more work. It's not good when people let their initial reactions, like within 1 second of hearing something, be their final reaction. There really should be some critical thinking when you hear something. Even if it sounds really dumb or if it sounds smart, it just might not actually be that when you think about it. All right, guys. So happy holidays. I hope you've been enjoying my vlogs. I'm gonna keep doing it, having a good time ranting about shit. Talk to you guys again real soon.